David, have you ever been on a cruise?
One time.
You like it?
I've been on one cruise. My grandfather passed away, and the entire family wanted to go on a cruise.
Well, now my question's
to scatter his ashes.
Well, can you lead with that next time so then I don't just...
I didn't know what you were going to ask me.
I mean, well, I guess, here, let me start over. But in all actuality, I've never really had the desire to really want to go on a cruise.
That's fine.
Like, I would much rather stay in a hotel by the water.
Okay.
Like,
you don't like boats?
Well, it's not that. And I'm not afraid to go out in the water. Like, I've been deep sea fishing all the time, but I just have no desire to want to get on a huge boat with a bunch of other people and just go out into the ocean. And I know it docks at other places, but you know what? Like, you know what I want to do? I want to be in my room. Then I want to be able to go, and guess what? If something breaks, there's no sinking. Like, there's no going under the ocean. We don't have to shoot a flare gun. You know what I do? I walk outside, all right? And then I go down the street, and then a hotel by the water, I've got everything there. And people say, oh, well, they have casinos on the boats. You can gamble. Well, I guess there's no casinos on land then.
So
I don't know. Maybe
adamant about this.
I just don't. I have no desire to go on a cruise. And I'm sure there's some people love it. I don't think there's anything wrong with cruises. I'm not saying they should stop cruises. I just don't want to go on one. And I've never had the desire to go on one. I'd much rather go out in the boat, go fish, or go hang out, then come back. I don't want to go out for 3 weeks. What if something happens? Just anything happens.
What if something happens on land and you were safe out on the boat?
That'll never happen.
Okay.
In the history of the world, that's never happened.
I remember the cruise being pretty fun. Then again, I was 12, so I was entertained by grass growing, you know?
Well, yeah,
our generation, things were easier and simpler.
They were much simpler. I don't know, man. I've just never really had the desire to go on a cruise.
What about flaming dragons? Should flaming dragons go on cruises?
No, but we're going to get to that. Don't worry. The Biden administration proposed a new rule which will bar schools from banning men competing in women's sports. Yeah, you heard that right. Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill says he plans to retire following the 2025 season, and Tim Brando has power again. So he's going to join us to discuss the Masters and much more. I'm Jake Crane. It's Flamin' Dragon Friday, baby. Let's turn up the heat. Welcome to Crane & Company. To all of the female athletes out there, it's time to boycott. Because yesterday, the Biden administration added a Title IX regulation, basically taking away federal funding from educational institutions that don't let men compete in women's sports. Think about that for a second. Now, I've sat up here and I've said the obvious many times, and I know most of you agree with me. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you are on. This is just plain stupid. We all know the truth. And now that this insanity has been cemented by the administration, there is only one option you have left if you want to save your sport. Boycott any event where a male is competing against a female outside of little kids, obviously. Now, there aren't many arrows left in the quiver. And there have been people speaking out like Riley Gaines and Megyn Kelly and Taylor Silverman and many others. But nothing is going to stop these people outside of a boycott. And that may not work. Now, they don't care about your cries for common sense or anything scientific that proves the obvious that we can all see. You guys are going to have to take it into your own hands. Now, the craziest part about this is nobody is asking anyone to change who they love or how they dress or even how they think. But now the government is actively putting women in danger. And the next thing is they're coming for your bathrooms and locker rooms. You better get ready. They've already stolen your identity and let people like Dylan Mulvaney make women look stupid and like the brain development of a female stops at 9 years old. Now, they claim to care about letting women have protection over their bodies. But have you geniuses seen what Fallon Fox did? She's cracking skulls, literally. It doesn't matter who you voted for. It's not about this. All right. It doesn't matter if you love Trump or Biden or hate both of them or each of them. It doesn't matter. We all know this is wrong. And if all of the country won't stand up, then female athletes shouldn't suit up. The scariest part of all of this, when you take a 30,000-foot view of it, is that if we continue to allow obvious truths to be lies, we are setting ourselves up for failure. I don't want to live in Rainbow Land where the unicorns are made of fudge and men can be women. So shame on you to the people in charge who let this happen. Shame on the people who continue to propagate this BS lie, and shame on the cowards who knowingly hide from the truth. History will not remember you fondly.
Whew.
I'm done with it. This stupidity. There's about three of us, including this show and sports media, that'll call this out. And you got people like Don Staley and Kim Mulkey and Diana Taurasi and all these super influential females that don't have the guts to stand up to protect their own sport. That's how I'm going to judge you. You care more about a sponsor like Nike who's letting a guy be the spokesperson for leggings and women's sports bras while mocking you. Look how stupid these people make you look. Not only that, now they're going to take over your sports and bathrooms and locker rooms. It's gotten to the point where female athletes are going to have to boycott. Is there any other way? Tell me another way.
It's an interesting point. And you say you're done with this, but I don't think it's done with you.
No,
I think this is only going to get worse, just like we talked about this week. Tough times create tough men. And those tough men create good times, and good times then, create weak men. And unfortunately, those weak men recreate tough times. And I think that's the part of the cycle that we are in right now, unfortunately. I think times are going to get fairly tough here. The Biden administration spat in the face of female athletes yesterday, and it's very disappointing. And the most disheartening part to me is, you and I have come up here, we've taken a stand to defend women's sports, and for that, we're the ones who get called ignorant,
bigots,
or bigoted, or backwards. And not only is that not true, Jake, it's just the opposite. I'm not sure if you caught Matt Walsh's speech recently on a college campus where he said he was speaking to individuals who identify as transgender, and he said, the people who are quote unquote affirming your lifestyle are not the ones who care about you. I do. I want what's best for you. And I was thinking about this, like, people don't want to be told no these days. And I'm dealing with this with my own 18-month-old son. He cries when I tell him no now. He started to learn that word. The parents who allow their kids to do whatever they want, whenever they want, are not the ones who love their children. It's the parents who will discipline their children and prepare them for the road ahead who truly love their kids. And as that relates to this transgender ideology, it's time to stand up and say, no, man, you're not a woman. You're a man, and that's okay. And now let's go help make you the best man you can possibly be.
Yeah, and again, I agree with you. I don't agree with men can be women and women can be men. But what I'm saying, and we've talked about that, I am just cornering this into, I don't care if you're trans. I don't care if you're gay. But the minute that you start enforcing with fascist styles, like we saw what happened with Riley Gaines yesterday, where she got assaulted just by speaking what she believes, from the same people who say they're nonviolent. But I don't even care about who you sleep with at night if you wear dresses. But when you start going to take over places, I look at this like a country, right? We look at Russia. What do countries like Russia do? They go try and take over spaces, all right? How do they take it over? By force. That's what you're seeing. You are watching men, and I'm talking about men that pretend to be women, trying to literally go invade the female species. Like, there's safe spaces, there's sports, there women's leggings and sports bras, there's sponsorships opportunities.
We have that too.
What is the difference? You are invading, doesn't matter what landmass you're on, you are invading the private spaces of a whole gender. Just think about that. Just think about that for a second. It is absolutely nuts. And the sports angle of this it's disgusting. And I'll say it again. Shame on anyone who knowingly hides from the truth, who propagates this lie because you hate women. I don't want to hear another word about hating women from anybody who believes in this, because deep down you can be a woman and hate women.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we've seen that many times, but it's gotten to the point now where it's federal.
And that's
the Fed said you don't get paid. And you know how schools make money?
Most of them, yeah.
But through federal funding.
Which is why I think we need to get an expert on here to talk about just how this will affect states like Kansas and Idaho and other states that have gone forward with this. You know, and you talk, and the men not competing in women's sports is the most dangerous aspect of this. But also for men need a place to be able to compete. You know, without women in their spaces as well. You know, you and I.
Yeah, that's true, but we know that's not.
You know, but it's just, I don't want to forget that side of it. You know, even though there's no danger with that. And just to end with a few details here, so people understand what's going on. The Biden administration's education department, what's going on is they're going to keep funding from schools that put bans on transgender athletes. Now, U.S. Secretary of Education Miguel Cardona said every student should be able to have the full experience of attending school in America, including participating in athletics.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
So how do you arrive at this?
No, yeah, you're right. So then why did you do this?
That's a statement for Title IX. That's a pro-Title IX statement.
You're using Title IX to destroy Title IX.
You know how this ends. Unisex sports. You know how this ends. It ends with one team for every school, and men just play the sports. And if they put their hair in a ponytail, they put their hair in a ponytail.
This is just the craziest thing ever. This is just absolute madness, man. But we're doing live call-ins today. We got Tim Brando coming on. Remember, you can call in 1-855-236-3228. Let us know what you think about that, about the Masters, all of that stuff. But my friend, we got a hell of a UFC card coming up tomorrow. There's a little transition for you. A hell of a card. Everybody's excited about Pereira and Adesanya. I agree. It should be a heck of a rematch. But man, the Gilbert Burns and Masvidal fight, I'm interested in too. I think Masvidal's going off at plus 360 right now.
Is that what it is right now?
Yeah, big underdog. At least when I saw it this morning, unless it's changed. But it was pretty early. So the card's pretty decent underneath. But at the top with Pereira and Adesanya, we're excited about it. And you can throw down for your shot to win big with our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook. You need to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now and sign up with our code BOOSTER. It's BOOSTER, because new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly, win or lose. That's right, win or lose. It's only at DraftKings Sportsbook. With our code BOOSTER, that's BOOSTER, minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Took Sam Burns yesterday, sprinkled a little money on him.
He played well.
I'm not going to jinx it. I took Sam Burns. I think I put 10 to win like 660. And then literally right when everybody teed off, I put some money on Xander Schauffele to win it.
To win the whole
thing. Okay. Both of them to win the whole thing.
Okay.
Now, Reed put out a bet yesterday because she's, into it now. We had an argument the other day about, who we should bet on, which is the best argument you can have with you and your fiance. It's the first argument we ever got in where I came out and felt even stronger about my, my
Good
decision. But she took Scheffler to win it, and Spieth and Rory to finish in the top 10. Or I think Rory to finish top 5, Spieth to finish top 10.
I like that
$10
bet.
to win $1,100.
I like that bet, Reed.
Scheffler just win it. Everybody else play good. But download DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use our code.
You're right on Masvidal. Plus 360. Gilbert Burns minus 450. That line surprises me a little bit, and Pereira is now up to plus 15. I like the plus money there.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are in Pereira's camp. He's beat him multiple times. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. I don't know, man. I just feel like Adesanya this time is going to find a way. Now, Adesanya said that this was the most, the greatest MMA story of all time. Nah, I wouldn't go that far, the battle between him and Pereira. I wouldn't go that far. But it is a good story. I do like the last style bender. But when I look at Gilbert Burns and the Masvidal fight, the more I look into Gilbert Burns, the more I like about him. This guy self-scouts, okay, which means that he pays other people, not like in your ring or whatever, like your trainer, to watch him and the other person and basically just print out a report card on each of them. Then he takes each one of those report cards, puts them together, and you're able to tell 100% what are your strengths and weaknesses compared to that other person. But the guy he has grading him is not biased. Like, it's brilliant. In football, the computer does it. Like, you don't have to bring in somebody to do it. You input what you call everything. It spits out the tendencies and what they do. And on 3rd and 6 or more, they like this play out of this personnel or this combination out of this formation. So I love getting down to the nitty gritty. And those are always the guys that seem to do well, or the ones that understand how to prepare at the next level. Not just the surface level stuff. I got to handle my business and be in shape and know what's going on. But the numbers inside the numbers inside the numbers. I just love it.
Good. Well, we're going to get to that a little bit later.
Yep.
The UFC fight. You want to introduce this week's Flaming Dragon?
Yeah. Obviously, everybody knows David Cohn on my left. But speaking about somebody who doesn't go on cruises, this Friday we have a brand new Flaming Dragon.
This is Flaming Dragon!
Bow to your sensei.
I'll never hear the end of this from this guy on Twitter.
No, look, it's good. It's a good thing. Diversity, inclusion. Typically, Orange Man bad. Today, Orange Man flaming.
Let's go to Drew in the chat here. The only way this ends is if recognizable female athletes sit out. Imagine if Caitlin Clark said she wasn't playing next season.
Yeah, and here's where I'm at, though. I don't think that female athletes should boycott games or sports where there's not a male guy in it. If it's two full, truly female athletic teams, then I think you should play the game. It's more of a statement to me, and I know some people may not agree with this, to sit out the ones where the men are competing against women. Because eventually it's going to happen in women's college basketball, okay? I mean, just look, it's going to happen. And I think that's what it's going to take, a man playing against somebody like Caitlin Clark, her sitting out, or if they don't sit out, watching that man go for about 40, 20, and 20 in a game. But if there's not a male playing, I don't want to punish the teams that are doing it the right way. Mm-hmm. I would rather punish the teams that are trying to cheat, because that's what it is. Let's be honest. You're cheating. If you're a guy that's playing against girls, we used to call you a cheater. Like, think about how far we've come. Imagine if in high school, when I was in high school, I cannot imagine the hell that I would catch and the disgrace that I would be if I said, you know what? Hey, coach, I'm playing for the girls this year. Just think about it. Did that thought even ever enter into your mind?
Not past us watching Joanna Man, which came out when I was around.
Which was hilarious. It was a movie based on something we thought would never happen.
It was like that movie sort of encapsulated, what would happen. Now, in that situation, he was already a top-notch, male basketball player too. So he just went and played in the other league. But apart from a laugh or two with that, it was never a serious thought.
But it's like, how embarrassed would you be? Like, how I wouldn't, if I went to play a women's sport, like, I couldn't be around people. I'd be disgusted with myself. Like, we have just lost, like, what it means. We talk about what is a woman all the time. What's a man? Anybody ask that question? Because that's gone. There's no shame. Yeah. Absolute no shame. That's why we need to bring back, I'm a positivity bullying guy. Yeah. We need to bring it back. This would never happen. This would have never happened.
All right, $5 dono here from Ryan Gade. But first, PJ, can you help me out with the poll today in the chat?
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Okay, PJ's got the poll today.
Get the signs.
Ryan Gade, $5 donation. Now, I know I'm talking to two Braves fans, but please, for the love of God, tell me something to be optimistic about with my Phillies' horrific start. Kind of rough. They got Zach Wheeler on the mound tonight, I believe.
Listen, Ryan, I like you a lot. All right, I appreciate you, man. You're tuning in every day. I appreciate you more than you can understand. And I will always tell you who I'm a fan of, okay? And y'all know I'm a Braves fan, all right? And maybe this makes me a bad person, but as excited as I am about seeing the Braves first in the NL East, I said it before the season, the division runs through Atlanta. What's new? And I like the Eagles. I got no problem with the Flyers. Heck, I even give the 76ers the benefit of the doubt. Kind of a James Harden guy, to be honest with you, as crazy as that sounds. But nothing brings me more personal blossoming joy than to see the Phillies in last place. The Nats, nobody cares. Nobody cares about the Nats, all right? Trying to get something right in D.C., good luck with that. But with the Phillies, and I don't know why, Philadelphia has never done anything to me. Speaking of the Phillies, again, like the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, I'm all for that. I don't know if it's Bryce Harper. I don't know what it is. But I cannot stand the Phillies. And maybe this is a personality, problem for me. But I get more excited about watching the Phillies in last than I do the Braves in first. Maybe because I expected the Braves to be in first.
So
But
no
Ryan, I like
optimism.
you.
No optimism. For
Here's the optimism that you should have. Become a Braves fan. How about that?
Okay, let me try now.
Go ahead, David.
162 game schedule.
Here we go,
You went to the World Series last year. A lot of games to play, and you still have great baseball players.
Yeah, and
that was nice.
That was nice. That was a good job. Yes. Good job there.
You. All right, Daily Wire.
I wonder which one of us told the truth.
Daily Wire chat. Bradley says cruises are amazing, Jake. But then Kevin says casinos are mid.
God, I don't even know how to handle those two things at once. And look, do your thing. If you like cruises, Tom Cruise, you're way on out there. Just keep on going. Put the windows down and cruise. All right? But I
was wondering when you were going to bring a.
Yeah, I'm just not doing it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to be trapped on a boat.
Heather Mama's in here. Mo Bama. We got Neftinks in here. Heather Mama says, good morning to everyone. Sister Riggs, the problem now is the narrative is its own monster. A female college basketball player will be injured by a trans player, and there will still be loud fractions to blame the injured player.
Nothing would surprise me at this point in time, to be honest with you. But again, there's no other way. You have no arrows left in your quiver.
Heather Mama says, I think I'm going to be a Padres fan just to watch that kid play. Well, second to the Braves.
You talking about the 16-year-old catcher?
He was on the Padres, right?
Yeah, Ethan Salas. Man, that is a crazy story. 16. Talk about sweet 16. Oh, hey, Dad, hold on. Don't give me the car yet. I got to go play catcher for the Padres. It's the coolest thing ever.
Sasha says, good morning. David asks, who wins the NL Central? You got the Cards?
Man, look, I picked the Cards before the season. Let me see an update on these standings, even though it's super early and the standings really don't matter. When looking at the Central, I'll stick with the Cardinals for right now. They're in last place, but again, you're 2-4. The Brewers are 5-1. It's been a good start for the Brewers. Hell, the Reds are 3-2 right now. Somebody stop the count. I'll stick with the Cardinals early. I think they still got time. I'm just wondering now with this Tyler O'Neill and Ali Marmol, the head coach, the manager of the Phillies, talking about Tyler O'Neill's suspension for, like Tony Perkins said, for lack of hustle. I don't know how much of a rift that's going to create, but it just makes me think that Yadier Molina is going to be the coach of the Cardinals a lot sooner than what people think.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday. $5 donation from Rolly. I don't understand how you could enjoy winning knowing you have a clear advantage and anyone who denies it is working. That's
my point. Like, so some of these same people will say, oh, I don't want if you take steroids, you're cheating, but men playing against women is fine. But isn't that just like taking steroids? Because if you look at sports, it's a lot better to have testosterone than estrogen. I'm not a scientist by any stretch of the imagination, but I can go ahead and tell you that. So you can't argue it in a way that makes sense. I think some people, just for lack of a better term, are just nuts, man. That's what I think.
Travis Elrod, my Astros are 3-4. Should I be concerned?
I don't want to hear any complaining from Astros fans. This is like when Bama fans complain. Like, what do y'all want? Like, y'all won the AL like 6 years in a row? Something like that. Oh, you're 3-4 to start the year. You'll look up 2 months from now and you'll be leading the major leagues in record. Started off a little bit slow. I know with Verlander leaving, some people are a little bit nervy. The Astros are going to be just fine. Just relax. Altuve's out because of the WBC. We all know what's going to happen. Everybody knows what's going to happen. The Astros are going to be great again. Surprise. But I do appreciate what y'all are doing the Yankees. I do want to say that. You know what I'm saying? We can, as friends.
Heather Mama, cruises are not for me. I've seen Titanic.
Yeah.
Yo, that's rough. Be a Boston Red Sox fan if you hate yourself. That's harsh.
Yeah, our buddy Jeff, man, it's a tough situation right now.
And there's only one Razorback says, I already miss the golf cart. Look at that. The golf cart.
That's a great job by the team.
Nice job, crew.
Did y'all see us driving on the course?
Yeah.
That was real.
On the course, for real.
Saw that.
All right, you want to get to reactions?
Let's get to reactions.
All right, Tyreek Hill, Dolphins wide receiver, says he plans to retire after this, the contract that he's on now after the 2025 season.
Well, maybe if he's feeling old, he ought to hit up our friends over there at Genucel Skincare. Why does great skincare and have to be just for the ladies? All right, Reed's loved it since I've got it. I basically put it all over myself and just I'm like 6 years younger. It's like Benjamin Button. All right, because if you're struggling with those frown lines, from what happened to your March Madness bracket? And don't lie, we all know it was terrible. Or how about those under eye bags and dark circles from lack of sleep, like Cone, who fights it every day with Genucel in David, Michigan? All right, and we got Major League Baseball opening up as well. You can get a little nervous about that if, I don't know, your team started out 3-4, but don't worry, Astros fans, you'll be fine. And let's not forget those dark spots, marks, and scars from years of playing sports when we were younger. Yes, they're badges of honor, but let's hide those anyway. Genucel products use natural ingredients to specifically target all visible signs of aging on a man's face and restore those boyish good looks that she just absolutely fell head over heels for you because of, all right? And like I said, we use it. I use it.
I'm on week 4, twice a day.
Uses it. And it's been fantastic. I mean, look at this. It's silky smooth, scrappy cocoa edition. All right. And right now, Genucel's introductory sale, just listen to this number, is 70% off their most popular package of products for the Booster Club. Yeah, that's you. We're out here doing favors. 70% off. So visit genucel.com/booster and use our code booster for even more savings. And you know what? They're feeling dangerous. So let's go ahead and make all orders upgraded to free shipping. All right, that's if you go to genucel.com, genucel.com/booster. Genucel.com/booster. You've got skin in the game.
Apparently, there are a lot of booster clubbers who have already gone out and taken advantage of this great deal. And for that, we thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for doing that. So you think if Tyreek Hill were to get some Genucel, he could maybe make it to, what do you say, 2030?
I don't know, man. I'm thinking 2050. But here's where I am on the retirement situation. If you go get your and do I like Tyreek Hill, like, as a person? No. I like the stuff he did off the field. I don't agree with. But he's a hell of a football player. He's won a Super Bowl. If he's what, 26 right now? 26 years old, somewhere around there? If you told me, all right, that you were going to become super rich and retire before 30 in any other business, what would people say? That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
He's 29.
29. Even better. So if you're saying that you make millions of dollars, like let's say you invented an app and then sold it and then retired, people would applaud you and stand up and tell you you're a genius. You beat the game. You cracked the code and you beat the game. It's like been 10 years in but still feel like a rookie. So if Tyreek Hill wants to retire, man, retire. That is your decision. You've obviously made enough money. There's other things that he can do, but I will never, ever talk down to somebody who retires when they want because they made the money they want. Because isn't that the goal? Get rich, retire early, and die late, baby.
I agree with you on people who want to retire, not only on top, but I feel like I've done enough in this profession. I'm going to move on. Do you think it's weird when people in advance of feeling that way set a date to retire?
No, thank you. If I'm the Dolphins organization, thank you for letting us know. Because it does multiple things. One, we know we're going to be down a weapon most likely at that point. Now, you always have in the back of your head, can you change your mind? We've seen guys change their mind all the time. They'll take a year off, want to come back in, whatever. But, you know, with Tyreek, I feel like this is true. I feel like he's going to stick to his word on this. But it's just like Deion Sanders in the transfer portal when everybody got so pissed off when he had that meeting with the Colorado players and was like, listen, some of y'all are going to have to get in the portal because you're not going to be starting. I'm going to go ahead and tell you. You can agree with the way he handled it or disagree with the way he handled it. But I am all for over-communicating. Tell me where I stand. Whether that's me being on this team because I want to, or me telling the GM, hey, I'm going to be done at this point, so you need to be prepared for that. I would much rather you tell me in advance than tell me after you already announced it. I'll take that 10
I mean, with the Deion Sanders thing, that's not really how he said it. Like, what he means is different than him coming in and on video camera saying, I'm bringing my own Louis Vuitton luggage. You know.
Well, yeah, again, though, but would you rather, if they hired that guy, like if you were the player that he was bringing in, you weren't Louis Vuitton, and he was bringing in Louis Vuitton, would you rather me sit there and say that to you so you know that you needed to leave or hit that transfer portal? Or say, hey, man, come in here, sit down real quick. Listen, listen, all that stuff I said, it's going to be a battle, man. I just got to get this guy over.
Those aren't the only two options.
Battle.
He can say what you're saying to a player to their face behind closed doors. I mean, I've been in this situation when Rich Rodriguez came into Michigan, and I agree with you on a coach coming in and just being honest with a player. I feel like more of them are than aren't, especially. I mean, like,
if you've ever been in
I was made aware that my style of play was not welcome under the Rich Rodriguez system at Michigan, but it wasn't done on video camera with someone coming in saying, I've got my own Louis Vuitton luggage, and he's talking about his son playing quarterback.
Yep.
So but that's a different situation.
Again, I'm not like the substance of what he said isn't really what I'm trying to get at. It is, at least you told me so I know. Regardless of how you told me, like, it sucks. I'm sure Rich Rod handled it much more professionally, which I agree with.
Which is
wild. Is saying something.
Which is wild.
But, I mean, again, at the end of the day, I would just much rather know where I stand. It's like they say in The Sopranos. The one thing about Tony, you always know where you stand.
I was thinking about Quentin Tarantino yesterday when I saw this, because Tarantino has always said from when he started making films that he was only going to make 10 movies, right? And so he's made 9. So everyone's anticipating the last one. And it's always been something that whenever you talk about Quentin Tarantino, it comes up, And it's like some people think that it's weird, some people, but it provides this sort of sense of urgency, right? Because after 10, he says he's done, he's going to stick by his word. And then there's always the question of, will someone, 3 seasons from now, if Tyreek Hill just barely loses a Super Bowl, does he all of a sudden feel like he wants to come
You never
back?
know
That's
how somebody's going to feel in a couple, especially when you get out of it. Like when you get out of that competitive nature and that grind. I just wonder what Tyreek's going to do. He'd be the best DoorDash guy in the country. Wouldn't even need a car.
They'd never get food late.
No.
All right, I know we're going to talk about the Masters with Tim Brando, but let's just recap the first round yesterday a little bit. Brooks Koepka.
Yes.
I didn't know 65 was out there for Brooks Koepka. Victor Hovland, also 65, and John Rahm, the same as well. They're all tied at 7 under. And then you got Jason Day and Cameron Young right after them at 5 under. Scotty Scheffler at 4 under. Your thoughts?
Look, it was somewhat of a higher scoring day than I thought it was going to be with the way it started, outside of Victor Hovland, who just hit the ground running. I think Sam Burns was also 4 under through 5, but Hovland looked really, really comfortable. Brooks Koepka is the story of the day to me, right? Yeah. Why? Live. Right, there you go. Like, we talked about this. Like, what if a live guy wins it? And Brooks is kind of carrying the banner right now. But, Scheffler to me looked like a guy that didn't feel a ton of pressure yesterday. I know he's trying to go back-to-back, but sometimes that'll build pressure. Just watching him, I mean, it looked clean, it looked smooth, he looked like himself. You got to feel good about that. John Rahm, we know how John's been playing. I'm just wondering when he's going to do a neck reveal. But when you look at Brooks to me has the most on the line right here. Because all of a sudden, if Brooks doesn't even have to win it, but if he can finish top 3, not that Brooks has been out of the mainstream golf media, but he hasn't really done much to get you super excited outside of going to live. That's what people have talked about. I just want this to come down to 2 guys at the end, one on the Live Tour and one on the PGA Tour. I am cheering for controversy. Watching Tiger yesterday, I think he finished 2 over, limping around the course on day 1, man. You saw him on that bunker shot too. I just hate to see it. Was surprised Mickelson, I think, finished at 1 under yesterday. Was surprised, and I know Phil knows Augusta like the back of his hand. He's done this a million times. Thought it was a good, solid round 1. The weather was good. That's going to be the biggest storyline with the wind, in my opinion, going forward into this weekend. And if you're going to score, at least at this, you better go ahead and score the way it's looking.
Yep. If it gets windy over the weekend, things are going to get really interesting. Brooks going to live, that's the least interesting thing about Brooks to me, because I've always been a Brooks Koepka fan. His ability to perform in the majors, especially for that 2-year span there where he had 4 majors in 2 seasons or something, was just absolutely incredible. To see him come back and post this 65, I know there's a lot of golf left, but that was very exciting. Can we bring up Victor Hovland again, please? Please bring up Victor Hovland's shirt one more time. Because, Jake, I need your thoughts on this.
Reed saw this yesterday and was like, she said he looked like he was about to start singing polka music and dancing.
So she wasn't a fan?
No. Look, I'm a firm believer of wear what you're gonna ball in. If you want to wear something that looked like a strawberry got attacked by, the Grinch, then that's on you. But if you're going to go out there and shoot 7 under, I don't care if you wear the crazy, look like Kim Mulkey out there.
Yeah.
If you're going to shoot whatever, do you. It's golf. It's already just mentally crippling. All right? Maybe by wearing something that looks stupid, it just relaxes you because now you're going to look stupid regardless of how you play. Maybe that's the trick.
guess so. This brand is J. Lindbergh. I think it's a British brand, I believe.
Oh, I thought it was. I thought it was Helen Keller.
I don't think so. But is there?
That's not the Helen Keller collection.
I don't think so. I don't think that's what they called that one. The Helen Keller.
Well, if she ever had one, that would have been it. That would have been on there.
So you think
Like
if
an
you
8-year-old finger painted it with fruit colors?
Do you think if he knew he was going to go out there and get to 7 under, day one of the Masters, he would have still worn this shirt?
I think it's why he shot 7 under, to be honest.
Really? So you
Again,
believe?
how can I look stupid by the way I play if I already look stupid by what I wear? It's genius.
I like it.
Honestly, Justine said she liked it. I'm going to be honest. We're in the trust tree. I don't hate the shirt. I
never said I hated the shirt.
Bring it up one more time. Let me see it. I'm still trying to. It's just like
I don't hate it. I don't love it. I mean, look at it. What is that? What do you think that? What's the thought? Tell me, David. What is your thinking behind the shirt? What does the shirt say? What does the painting say to you?
That's a Jackson Pollock for sure. I don't hate it. Sorry. I
It's cool.
Let's see. It's not cool. PJ, it's not cool.
Here's my question. Why do you not wear this shirt 4 days in a row? Yeah. Like everybody talks about changing into Sunday color. How about I wear what I played good in? They'd be like, Jake never wears the same thing every time.
Man, now people are automatically going to ask, man, I wonder what he's coming out in today.
I've watched John Daly and them dress crazy. You remember
Ian Poulter?
You remember Jesper Parnevik?
Oh,
He would have his bill flipped up like this?
Yes, of course.
Jesper, just whisper.
Everybody needs a style, All right, love it. Frozen 4, we don't need to spend too much time.
How did it go last night, David?
Just
how did it go?
Quick update.
Who'd y'all lose to?
Minnesota beat Boston University, and then Quinnipiac.
Y'all lost to Quinnipiac?
Quinnipiac moved forward and beat.
It sounds like a Pokemon.
The Michigan defense isn't really important to us Wolverines.
Y'all
disgusting.
I tell you what,
5-2, Jake.
Y'all are the best at getting close I've ever seen.
I mean, look, ever since I've met you, the Michigan football team has made it to back-to-back college football playoffs. The hockey team, back-to-back Frozen Fours. And that's awesome. Congratulations.
You're welcome.
Can't make it to the championship.
You guys will.
Can't make it.
I may pick y'all to win it this year.
Well,
y'all are Florida State. I don't know.
You do get a lot of them right. So you're between Michigan and Florida State.
Right now, I am. It's a battle. Like I've got to sit down, put a bunch of next to a Zen garden with one of those little teapots that has steam coming out of it, and just stare
really
outside.
dive in deep.
Yeah, call it the Billy Donovan.
All right, moving on to the next one. Remember, we got call-ins.
Yes.
Call ins.
1-855-236-3228. We have Tim Brando coming up too. We're taking your calls right after that, so go ahead and call in.
And then Tim Brando before that. But before we get to that, I wanted to get to some Nike commercials real quick. I want to talk to you about Nike, Jake Crane.
Let's get into this.
Bring up a Nike commercial. Let's say the Derek Jeter one, when Derek Jeter retired. Nike had some really great commercials when we were growing up.
This is like
right?
where we've been and then where we are.
Let's watch this Derek Jeter one together.
Let's do it.
Number 2, Derek Jeter. Number 2.
John Lester tipping his cap.
Respect, man.
Respect.
What a great commercial for a Hall of Fame player. It was awesome.
It was, and I mean, this is what sports embodies.
Yeah.
I mean, you embody the town. Your town takes on the identity of your team. That's why this is so scary. But you talk about, we hear the word inclusion and stuff like this. When you watch a commercial like that, because if you're a sports fan, typically you're a fan of somewhere that you're from. So you identify your team with your home. And that commercial encapsulated that perfectly.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing about Derek Jeter is I think he even transcended New York.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, I think it was just a mutual respect thing from everybody around the league for doing things the right way. And those are all males competing against.
I've never liked the Yankees, but I've always loved Derek Jeter. So let's go a little farther back. We're talking about Tiger Woods and the Masters this week. Let's bring up one of those old school Tiger Woods commercials that we all tried to imitate on the driving range. Don't pretend like you didn't. Play this one.
This is so impressive. I mean, Tiger's hand-eye coordination is just alien level. I wonder how many takes it took him to do this. How much do I bet it was one? How much do I bet this is the first take? Take me 4 years to figure out how to do that. And then stop it on the club.
And as if that weren't enough.
Yep.
Here, let me launch it.
That is
of course.
just great. There you go. Nike golf.
You remember
Let's
those?
go play some golf.
Everyone was doing that on the driving.
Yes.
But
yes.
Jake, we're dinosaurs. That's a long time ago. It's 2023. Bring up Nike's new partnership. Yeah, there we go.
Oh,
Dylan Mulvaney. Have you seen this
Not
one?
this guy.
Check this one out. 2023 Nike. Please play this.
Oh my God. You know, the saddest part about this whole thing, other than that's a guy that's wearing women's clothes, is like, look how stupid they make women look. I don't know any women
Look at that.
act like that.
That's a horror movie.
One day, Dylan Mulvaney is going to come out and have a press conference.
And say I was trolling.
And he's going to say, gotcha.
Yep.
And it's going to be the greatest troll. If there's a woman that is not offended by that, like, how can you not be? How can you not be offended by that? I don't get it. If somebody did that, and it is a man, but like, look how stupid. Play it again. Who acts like this? Who acts like this? They didn't even try and be inspirational. Now they're just making fun of you to your face. This commercial should say, hey, guess what, women? We know you're stupid, but here's some tight clothes. That's what the commercial is to me. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And I'm going to have to explain this to my children one day about what happened in early 2020. This happened. We went from Derek Jeter and Tiger Woods to Dylan Mulvaney putting on yoga pants and acting like a complete idiot pretending to be a woman. Shame on everybody that's involved in this.
Nike.
And now you're hearing Anheuser-Busch, some of the guys are upset. Did you see that?
Who?
About the Dylan Mulvaney thing, that they didn't know that was going on the can and all this stuff? Oh, look, they're backpedaling. They're backpedaling like Sauce Gardner in Cover 3. It's unbelievable. There will be such a huge backpedal. Now, look, it's Nike. They don't care about child slave labor. Like, it's who cares? Like, to them, this means nothing. But in the grand scheme of things, like, how is this not making fun of somebody?
I don't even have any words, Jake.
Yeah, like Nike, I understand. Now, I'm not shocked now, but just think about the old school Nike. It's awful. It's absolutely awful.
Last thing here, I want to get to UFC. Like we were talking about, you mentioned Jorge Masvidal going off at plus 360 now in his fight against Gilbert Burns, and then Alex Pereira plus 115. It's going to be a great weekend of fights. Are you changing your pick at all?
No, I'm sticking with Iz. I'm going to stick with Iz. Yeah, and look, I know that Pereira is a hell of a kickboxer, and I know we talked about wrestling and that Flaming Dragon thought that Adesanya should try and take him to the ground. I'm just telling you, I think Adesanya knocks him out.
Really?
I think Adesanya knocks him out. I think he knocks him out. I think he catches him. I don't know if it's going to be with a kick or if he's going to catch him with a left, but I think he's going to catch him. Because it's hard to beat somebody 3 times. Because remember, they fought before either one of them even came to UFC.
It was kickboxing.
Yeah. Yep. We'll see.
Pereira knocked him out then, too.
I know. But again, you say it all the time. It's hard to beat a good team twice. It's even harder to beat them 3 times.
So hard. But it got me thinking with UFC this weekend, this Derrick Lewis clip.
Oh, this is so dope.
This Derrick Lewis clip when he was with Joe Rogan. I
remember this.
Now, this is censored.
Okay.
This is censored. It's not the same when it's censored, but I thought we might run this.
So this is before Derrick Lewis fought a Russian, all right?
After he fought him.
After he fought a Russian. But he's talking about what happened before he fought the Russian. And remember, this is back, and I know we're always beefing with Russia, but this was in the prior administration when all that stuff was going down with Trump and Russia. Listen to Derrick Lewis. You want to talk about a guy being real in a post-game interview? Let's play this.
No one will question your heart, sir, after this. This is a come-from-behind knockout, the likes that we haven't seen in a long time. And you were looking for that big haymaker all night. You found it in the last minute of the fight.
I forgot a few hours before the fight, Donald Trump called me and told me I got to knock this Russian out to make him look bad on the news. So him and Putin
and
they talking about USA in his hole.
Hold hold on. Can we play the clip again? He says, Trump called him and said, you got to knock this Russian dude out because they're trying to make him look bad on the news, and Putin ain't nothing. Let's play this again. This is
No question your heart, sir, after this. This is a come-from-behind knockout, the likes that we haven't seen in a long time. And you were looking for that big haymaker all night. You found it in the last minute of the fight.
I forgot a few hours before the fight, Donald Trump called me and told me I got knocked this Russian out. They're making him look bad on the news. You know, him and Putin. They're talking about USA in his hole.
Yes, you love
That's the
to see
best
it.
post game.
He said he's making him look bad in the news.
First of all, I didn't even think twice about that. That never happened. Like, Trump did that.
Oh.
Like, you know that
Of course
Donald
he did
Trump
that.
did that, and then Derrick Lewis is like, that just, like, it happens every day.
Derrick, listen, they're making me look like an idiot. They're pretending all this stuff. I need you to knock him out huge.
And he did.
He did.
And he did. But can you imagine getting called by the president?
No.
Like, be like, listen, it's a Rocky. It's like Rocky, man. It's like Rocky and Drago. You know, you're representing the country. It's like, listen, we need a dub right now. We need it bad. Need you to knock this Russian guy out. And Derrick Lewis came through in the clutch, man.
Golly, I love that. That's awesome, man. All right, you want to get to Booster Club here?
Let's get to the Booster Club.
All right, $2 donation from James Stallings. Braves on a roll, baby. Let's go, guys.
Yes, of course. Of course. Let's just continue to do it. Just continue to do it. Just continue to do it.
All right, we got the Hayfords in here. We got Cody Nason in here. Did they skip the Frozen 3? Look, we're not talking college hockey anymore.
Look, David's hurt because Michigan keeps getting to the edge of the cliff and then walking down.
Reports are, this is from Kyle Kennedy, reports are that the Tiger commercials were one take when he did these.
I'm not shocked at all.
Yeah.
I am not shocked at all. That man is just uber talented. There was a lot of Nike commercials with Tiger in it that was absolutely dope.
Kyle also said that looks like a robot dancing. The one they tried to make dance looks like a robot.
Yeah, Reese has like a cartoon. Like, and again, I hated to see Tiger kind of limping around yesterday and everything. But you know, here, I just really want Sam Burns to win. Okay, I know I keep going back to Sam Burns, but I'm trying to put that out in the universe, and he played good yesterday. So I'm to the point where I don't want to jinx it, but I also want to put it out in the universe.
Lucky Bird here says, diehard Red Sox fan here. Respect to Derek Jeter. Great ads until the not so great pretender.
Say that again.
It keeps reloading. Hold on one second.
That's all right. That's all right. We got Tim Brando coming in here in a minute as well. Technically, it's getting a little difficult over there with the reload in the chat, which I don't think is a bad thing at all. I do want to say though, going back to the Derrick Lewis commercial. What year was that?
When Derrick Lewis fought, you mean?
When Derrick Lewis fought him. Was that 2017, 2018? I can't remember what year that was.
Probably.
I haven't seen anything from Derrick Lewis in a while. All right, like we said, call-ins as well. 1-855-236-3228. Make sure you give us a call. We can talk about anything, but give us the call sign as well. And we're thinking about doing a little something with the call signs. Maybe in the merch department. I don't know. I don't want to get weird. But, we got Timmy B in here. Timmy B, can you hear me?
I can.
There he is.
Yes.
What's up, man? Hey, first off, I do want to say congratulations.
Masters Day, baby. It's
Of
Masters
course.
Day,
Of course. We're about to dive in head first. I do want to say, though, congrats on the extension, my friend at Fox. Well deserved.
Thank you.
Really excited to continue to watch, and you know how much I watched you last year, especially in college basketball. But man, it's great, and it's good to see another year, another year with a seat at the table, baby.
Yes, sir.
Another team photo.
Yes.
That's the key.
Yes.
Okay? Whether you're playing, you're coaching, or you're broadcasting, you want to make those team photos, fellas. It's good for the soul, and keeps you from having to collect Social Security until you're 70.
That's it. Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Timmy B, we know you could do this forever. But I do want to start with the Masters. I mean, your thoughts yesterday, we talked about Brooks. Obviously, Scheffler's going to be in the hunt, but Victor Hovland just freaked out for 18 holes. But what was your biggest takeaway or takeaways from yesterday's first round?
Well, first and foremost, let me take care of my colleagues that are, as they say, either getting ARP cards or Social Security cards and saying, you know what, I'm okay. I think I can do this for a while longer before I begin to draw. Okay. Freddie Couples is 63.
Yeah.
And he shot 71. Okay. Boom, boom. Can still boom it. He's still dropping bombs. I mean, that's just, that's incredible. Phil shot 71, and, you know, he's a good 10 years younger. I think the greatest takeaway, though, for me was how Brooks Koepka looked like the Brooks Koepka of old, like a guy that was ready to dominate and was confident in every shot and had his swagger back. You know, when he got hurt, which was late 21, and then last year was sort of a throwaway year with the live thing and all that, he sort of cratered his game a little bit. I don't know if you guys have been watching the Netflix documentary.
Oh, yeah. We did a review on it. Yep. It was great.
It is so good. It is so good. I thought the Joel Damon episode, I just finished episode 4, and I already knew him, so I knew a little bit about his story, but I know so much more now, and I like him that much more now. I highly recommend any golf aficionado, and even if you're not, like my wife was watching with me the other night, and she was compelled to watch it. She got really involved because you see the lifestyles, you know, not only behind the ropes, but inside their homes and whatnot. And different people with different personas have a different way of going about it. Like Scotty Scheffler's world is completely different from Brooks Koepka's. And yet they're in the same business and are about the same age, really. So, or in that same generational aspect of their lives. But those were the takeaways, I think. There's no doubt in my mind that Hovland is going to win majors. He's been there for quite some time. I think the elephant in the room is, though, fellas, the live story. Nobody's really talking about it now.
Yes.
Nobody's really talking about it. But, you know, they didn't invite Greg, and the reason they didn't was because Norman had spouted off something about a party and a celebration and some and I don't think the Green Jackets wanted that there. I don't think Fred
meet me at the 19th hole at 9.
Yeah. And I don't know that if Billy Payne were there, if he probably would have done the same thing and said, Greg, thanks, but no thanks. You steer clear. We're letting your players play. But I think without question, Koepka, don't rule out Cam Smith. I mean, there are so many guys that are on that tour. Now, they didn't get all of them, and they didn't get most of them, but the ones they got are really good. And I'm not a fan of live. I don't diss a player for taking the opportunity for found money. As a matter of fact, I've watched it, and I don't like watching it. It's kind of it's a difficult watch. There's too many graphics on the screen. Other than Faraday, they don't have an identifiable voice for me. So, and the whole team thing for me is hard. And also, I think just because I love golf, one of the reasons I love it is because if I'm watching the Korn Ferry or if I'm watching the Canadian Tour, I know these guys are trying to make it, okay? And in the Korn Ferry, it might be the difference in winning and losing could be, gee, I have to drive 1,800 miles versus fly to my next event. I want to see players have a lot on the line, and these live guys have nothing on the line. You know, they've got found money. But look, Brooks, DJ, these guys are all capable of being there on Sunday. And I think if they are, it will add great intrigue to all this. And it'll be unspoken on the air because, you know, I worked at CBS and I worked this event on digital for 3 years. And listen, the list of things that you cannot touch as a broadcaster editorially are plentiful. And I guarantee you live is one of them. So it's going to be the unspoken conversation on social media all the way through the weekend. I just hope the weather that just went through here breaks up a little bit so it doesn't destroy the weekend for those of us that love to view the Masters. But, I mean, the storylines are great. And my pick, my homeboy, slamming Sammy Burns.
You went with Sam Burns, too?
Both you guys.
Let's go, Timmy B. I went with Sam Burns, man. Hey, look, one day below break cage, and he get this.
Yeah. He grew up on my course at Southern Trace. I know his family. He's got it all. He's got that swag. He's also a really good young man. Soft-spoken to the media, but when he gets on the course, He strolls around there like Dustin Johnson. You know, he's got some serious swag about him. The fact that he's close with Scheffler also is another reason to like him.
Yeah.
Because Scotty's such a great guy, and they're sharing a house this weekend there. They usually do that. But he's got the game. Yesterday, he did not make one mistake until his tee shot, and I want to say it was 10, went right into a sand divot, and it forced him to make bogey there. And then I think he just got out in front of it. I don't think he missed club, but he took out a gap wedge on 16 Burns hole, and he left it in the bunker, and it cost him a shot. He should probably be 6 under instead of 4, but he's right there. I mean, he's absolutely right there. Any of those guys that shot 2 under or better are at a tremendous advantage now with this looming weather that's out there, because that's going to change things. Expect those scores to come down and for the field to come up. I think it's great that he's playing with Rory, too, because that takes some of the pressure off Burns.
Yeah.
Because all eyes are on McIlroy as one of the big three. Too much has been made about this big three thing. Way premature in my mind.
Sure.
Too many great golfers out there to be talking about, oh, would you take those three or the rest of the field?
Yeah, I agree.
Tennis had a true big three. You know, golf, it's a little bit tougher to do that. But Tim, my friend, I want to talk to you about women's college basketball. This past weekend, for the first time, I sat down and watched a women's college basketball game from the very start to the very end, and it was exhilarating, with Caitlin Clark and Iowa defeating South Carolina, and then the championship with LSU and Kim Mulkey, the performance they put up against Iowa, 64% from 3. I mean, Kim Mulkey, a champion as a player, 3-time champion as Baylor, what she's done for LSU, absolutely incredible, Tim. And then before we really could even enjoy that victory, you had a situation with star forward Angel Reese for LSU, where she sort of taunted and was mocking Caitlin Clark on the court. And, you know, so what? Athletes are they're competitive. I've done worse. I've said worse, right? So whatever, let it go. But it spilled over into this week, Tim, and we had Angel Reese saying that they didn't want the First Lady, Jill Biden, to come in the locker room beforehand because the president didn't pick LSU to win the tournament or something. And then, you know, saying, if you invite Iowa, we don't want to go. We're going to go to the Obamas. We're going to go see Michelle and Barack. And now LSU sounds like they will go to the White House. What are your thoughts on this whole situation, just because I know how close you are to the LSU program?
Well, and really, my history with Kim is more than you might realize. I was calling women's college basketball in the 80s, did a number of regional finals in 87, 88. I did Cheryl Miller's game when they actually beat Louisiana Tech en route to the national title game. And she was on those teams, and she was an assistant on those teams after she got through playing, which was around the Olympics in 84. That was her senior year. And when she came back to her hometown in Tickfaw, Louisiana, which borders to Hammond, about 35 miles southeast of Baton Rouge, I was there to cover it for my local station. I actually put on Twitter last week the piece that ran. A friend of mine that's still there, Steve Schneider, the longtime sports director there, went into the archives and took a picture of it and sent it to me, so I was able to put it out on social. She had her pigtails and the whole bit, and she's just come back from the 84 games with her gold medal. Listen, she is, you may not like Kim Mulkey. She may say things that anger you politically, okay, about just anything, okay, but she's going to say what she's unfiltered. She's going to say what she thinks anytime. Well, her team reflects that. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the reasons why these transfers, like Angel Reese and so many others, were able to fit in so quickly with what she was trying to do. And listen, I thought that the games were great. And as for Caitlin Clark, I'm going to go old school, new school on her. She has the all-around game of a Larry Bird, but she has the shot of Steph Curry. Yeah. And you put the two of those together, my goodness. I mean, it's just incredible. I was enthralled. On Friday night, we went to dinner. My wife and I went to dinner in Houston. We came back, caught the last 8 minutes of the game, and then she was just off the charts in that win to move into the finals. I don't know that I've seen – listen, 41 points. That's Jack Goose Givens' number when he had for 41 against Duke in 78 to help Kentucky win the Final Four. And unstoppable. She was unstoppable. in that game. All right, fast forward to the next game. She's gotten all this hype. The LSU girls barely got past Virginia Tech. And they're thinking about, I'm telling you, the South Carolina factor, the SEC factor, because so many of those young ladies know one another, was big. They played with a chip on their shoulder. And Angel Reese, that's who she is. And she played very little in the first half, got in foul trouble, sat. So when she got back in, after the support group off the bench did such a great job for Kim, she let her have it. She let her have it the way Caitlin did the night before. Now, look, some of my friends that are my age and older have issues with the fact that she was looking and walking towards her when she did it, as opposed to Caitlin when she was just having fun with it and kind of pointing towards the crowd when she was. This is not a debate about whose acts were worse or are more controversial, but it becomes that because of what? The media.
Yep.
Because of the media narrative. For those that really don't care about women's basketball, that ordinarily would not care to watch or even comment on it, now suddenly we got a race story here to discuss.
Yep.
No, we really don't. We got two competitors, both of whom respect the hell out of each other, and are going to talk trash while they're playing. That's it. End of story. That's where it stops. What I will say is the fact that we were talking about it, so much so that Charles Barkley addressed it on CBS's men's coverage, all right, at halftime of the national championship. That's great for women's basketball. I think Angel Reese would be well served, and my guess is the message from her coach, from Kim, would be, hey, that was awesome. You be you, okay? But let's remember that we need to talk about some of the other young ladies here that helped you win a national title while your ass was sitting over here with me on the bench. And that's what
half.
Kim was talking about, yeah. And the freshman was incredible. Flossie is an outstanding talent as well. And what I love about it, fellas, is Angel Reese said yesterday, I don't think I'm going to go to the WNBA. Why would I? I'm making more money here at LSU than I could make in my first season with the WNBA. That's great for the women's game. I mean, and again, it reminds us what I was trying to tell you guys with the whole NIL thing stirred up last summer. The NIL and portal is great for the women's game, too. In fact, it might even be better. I mean, those young ladies at UConn are making plenty. And the young ladies at South Carolina.
Yeah, look at gymnastics, Tim. Look at some of these sports that weren't getting this influx of money. I mean, you got the two twins, the two twin girls from Miami that are they almost had the NCAA hit them because they were doing so well in the NIL.
And that's fantastic. Tim, and all of that's fantastic, and to grow the women's game. I agree with most of your saying. On the point of, and we've been hearing it a lot more lately, of, hey, you go be you. That's a good thing. I think we hear that a little bit too much these days. I think we do need a little bit more discipline with these college athletics, especially when it comes to, talking about the first lady and the sitting president. I mean, the sitting president doesn't owe any athlete an invitation to the White House, Now, we talked about it on this show. It was ridiculous to invite the loser of a championship game to the White House. Is just crazy. And, it's unprecedented, all that kind of stuff. But there has to be something to, hey, let the team speak for what the team is going to do when it comes to those sorts of decisions. Am I wrong here? Or is this a situation where, as long as it's your team, your players can get away with anything?
Right. No, there's an element of that. But what I'm trying to tell you is Kim is aware of it. And trust me, I'm going to use the term, it may sound politically incorrect now, but when she goes into the locker room, she'll dress them down. She will. She'll let them know what's really wrong here. And I guarantee you she's told Angel Reese, hey, in the future, let's have the story the next day be the job all of your teammates did too, okay? Because without them, we don't win that game. And it's true. If you look at the game, it was points off the bench that was really the difference in the story. Another factor, I think, and I heard Jason Whitlock talk about this, and I don't always agree with Jason, but I like him and I respect him. And, we had a girl, Colcock, another one, in the handshake line in a game.
We talked about that too.
Not long ago. We gotta make sure that it doesn't go overboard. And so I get that. I really do. And another thing that I do want to mention, because the subject matter has come up just a couple of times, some of the snarks from down in Baton Rouge, and we've got snarks in Louisiana. pointing out to me, "Hell, Brando, I guess they don't need to name Dale Brown Court anymore." Let's pump the brakes here just a little bit, okay? Women's college basketball was not an NCAA event until 1982, while Kim was still playing and an upperclassman at Louisiana Tech. It was the AIAW, so it was not a sanctioned NCAA sport until then. You know, Delta State, Our Lady of Immaculata, they were champions too, but not in the NCAA. So let's pump the brakes here a little bit as it relates to what men's basketball has done and is still doing for the women's game. Dale helped fund some of those scholarships for Sue Gunner when she got there in the early 80s to get them to this point. So women's basketball now, through NIL and the portal and the progression and the exposure that's been given to them through this tournament, is growing so much to a point that I believe, and I'm hearing this from people in the sports business world, the women's basketball rights are going to move separate of all the other spring non-revenue producing sports and go up for bid in a little over a year. I think the bidding starts next year.
Moving up.
The new contract starts in 2 years. So good for them. I'm all about the women getting more exposure, more revenue. But let's not forget the foundation, which has been men's basketball and the incredible success of the NCAA tournament. And even with the men's tournament having the lowest rating in history for its championship, it still almost had 50% larger audience than the women, who broke all kinds of records. Yeah. Well, let's pump the brakes just a little and understand the foundation that they've had and how they can go forward. The realization of women's basketball is great. Yeah. I've called a lot of it. I did a lot of those Geno Pat Summit games between Connecticut and Tennessee, both at ESPN and at CBS. We used to call it Title IX Saturday. It would always be opposite the NFL first-round playoffs. If your network didn't have it, you put the women on, and it was a good alternative audience that you were going to reach that day. Yeah. None of those games, none of those championships for those two coaches that are on Mount Rushmore is as transformational as the game we just saw, all right? And the weekend we just saw for the women. And those two players that really transcend the sport are going to be back next year. I think we've got a budding Magic Johnson, Larry Bird thing going on.
Yeah, and South Carolina and UConn aren't even in that. Like, that's my thing. It's been the on-the-court product and having more than just being a one-trick pony. It's not just Brianna Stewart or like just Diana Taurasi. Right. Now you have more women and more teams, which gets more eyes, and you're making the product about the product on the court. They need to keep it that way.
And one other thing, I do think one of the great aspects of this is, and I've got to give some credit to my old friends at ESPN. It's easy to bash them, and just about everybody does. And certainly, I've taken my fair share of shots at some of the things that I don't like about the place where I used to work and really started my career at from a national standpoint. But they do one thing at ESPN really, really well, and they have since its birth in 1979. They still have the same public relations people. Chris LaPlaca and Mike Soltis still there. They worked with Rosa Gatti years ago. They cross-promote their product better than anyone. And that's the reason, that's what helps drive an audience to the women's game. And now when you watch and I'm not a big fan of these Embrace Debate shows, you know that, on either network. But they're talking about it ad nauseum. And that is smart. That is called seamless broadcasting. Promote what you've got on your own air. And that helped bring a very large audience to what they were doing. And in fairness to CBS and Turner, they're not in the sports business regularly. You know, they don't have, I suppose you could say CBS Sports Network, but they're not even in 50 million homes, don't even have a ratings book. So they're really not a factor in terms of moving the needle. But the tournaments on over-the-air networks are not promoted to the extent that ESPN promotes its women's game. So, hats off to them, too, for still doing that job really, really well.
Yeah, got to strike while the iron's hot. Timmy B, you always do. Congrats on the extension, my friend. Fox Sports, you can check him out at Tim Brando on Twitter, but he's going to be watching the Masters today, so I don't know if you're going to get a hold of him. Timmy B, man, it's always great to have you. Glad you guys are okay through the storms out there, man, and it's always a pleasure, my friend.
Yeah, thank you. And again, I do want to say this before I go. man, oh man, Fox was a savior to extend my career. They came along at a time that was really critical for me, fellas, and because of my association with them now, I'm going to hit a lot of milestones that I set for myself in terms of career goals, and I'm really thankful and grateful to still be doing what I love and to hopefully be doing it for a long, long time.
Yeah. Well, they're lucky to have you, Timmy B, and so are we. We appreciate it, brother.
Congratulations,
Congrats.
my friend.
You bet.
All right,
Buddy.
Tim
Thank you,
Brando,
fellas.
one of our favorites, man. One of the best guys in business.
Legend.
We'll always tell you how it is.
Yeah.
Calls ready?
Calls are ready.
Bring the noise, David.
Let's talk to Jan in Lubbock, Texas, Buddy Holly's hometown. Jan, what's going on?
Hey, boys. Good morning.
Good morning.
My call is Tumbleweed 1477.
There you
Okay,
go.
okay.
Tumbleweed.
We have talked before,
Yep.
and it's kind of a nice segue with Mr. Timmy B talking about women's sports because, Jake, I have to talk to you as a great aunt. I am old enough to be your great aunt.
Mm-hmm.
On Monday, I loved it when you went on about the Anheuser-Busch advertising with Dylan Mulvaney, and you were talking about how that just was not appropriate for a man's product. And then you kind of slipped a little bit and said, well, but if it's for a woman's product, well, it's not great, but it's not, well, it's not great. And what I wanted to talk about is we talk about how much he disrespects women, which he does. And I think that the product producers, manufacturers, like, for example, a purse manufacturer, Kate Spade, has him as their advertiser. Yep. Well, as a woman, I just don't understand. Not only is it disrespecting me, because I think he's a grifter, laughing all the way to the bank, the women who run these companies, the women who are involved with women's sports, where is their self-respect?
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Back, and I just, that's what I don't understand.
Yeah.
Well, my sister and my friends, we're not carrying those purses anymore. We're not buying those purses anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand. And what I would like to have people talk about, men, women, people who have daughters, how can you possibly sit there and think that this is the person that you're going to have your child look toward for respect? It's hard enough to be a young woman or a young man, and there's enough trouble with identity crisis, so you put this guy on?
Yeah.
And I refuse to use male pronouns. So thank you, Jake.
Jana, I could not agree with you more. I do want to say this. I think what I was saying was with Nike, it doesn't surprise me that they did that. With Anheuser-Busch, I was shocked that they did that. Because, I mean, look at what Nike's done. Look at what's going on in China. Like, are we really surprised that again, all these people you just mentioned, it doesn't, I disagree with them doing it, but that doesn't shock me the way that it does with Anheuser-Busch or Jack Daniels or Miller Lite we've seen. It's more of the surprise. Not that I think it's right, but it does not, it's like them, if Dylan Mulvaney went on Jimmy Kimmel, that doesn't surprise me. But if they went on Greg Gutfeld, I'd probably be a little bit surprised. It's not right in either instance, in my opinion. So I actually agree with you 100%. And it is disrespectful, and the patriarchy wins again.
Jan, thank you so much.
Jan, you're the best. Hey, we got Coach McGuire coming on soon as well from out there in Lubbock. So.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
That is right. Thank you, Jan.
Excellent.
Thanks,
and I love
Jan.
the new basketball coach.
Yes, that was a heck of a
She called in before and talked about that.
That's exactly right.
Keep calling in, Jan. We love that perspective. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan.
Brian, Nebraska. What's going on, Brian?
Hey, fellas. It's Brian, a.k.a. Head People Keeper Blaine, a.k.a. The Pipeline.
No,
Boom.
the Pipeline.
The Pipeline, baby.
Husker fan, obviously. I had to go with Husker call sign.
Of course.
So all this spring training for the Huskers, I'm absorbing it, and obviously I'm not as plugged into Auburn, but it seems to me like those two teams will be really interesting to watch because, in my opinion, it seems like they both had a culture issue on top of recruiting, but mostly like a culture issue. And I think depending on their success, I think it'll be a real testament of how important culture is to a football program, or really, I mean, a sports program in general.
No, without a doubt. You know, what's interesting is that, and this is the cool thing about sports in general, but looking at this circumstance, you have Nebraska that's in the Big Ten West, and you have Auburn that's in the SEC West. One's the best division in college football. The other one is without a doubt the weakest division in the Big Ten. But both of those teams have a brand new coach. Both of those teams are trying to install a new culture. Both of those teams need to get better up front. And I think you can expect good things from both of those teams. It's like I said about Matt Rule. Okay, y'all know how I feel about Hugh Freeze. I don't have to go on some diatribe about that. But I feel like Matt Rule is the guy that can take that old car and shine it up and make it all new again and make it run good again. It's not going to be in the best condition it ever was, like it was back in the day, but he'll get that car running again where it can be respectable. And I think Matt understands, just like any coach that is worth his salt, skill guys are great, you have to have them. But this game will always be won and lost up front. And when you watch Nebraska, what is Nebraska's biggest problem? Their guys up front, they may be big, but they can't move. Like they aren't super athletic and strong up front. I think Matt's identified that. I already like some of the moves that they've made, but culture. That is what wins, and you are exactly right.
Tell you what would be a huge win for Matt Rule is if they land this 5-star Dylan Raiola. You know, the Nebraska legacy quarterback whose father, I think he played center at Nebraska. That would be a huge
And typically
get
those Nebraska legacies stay home. Like that's a
and
different
he's trending
level.
in that way. I
mean,
heard Southern Cal, he's kind of fading on Southern Cal a little bit.
Yeah,
so.
they'll get you lost in the corn. You try and disappear out there.
Yeah. How you feel, Brian?
Yeah, Raul is not looking fantastic right now, but a guy to really watch that seems legitimately interested is Brandon Baker, the number one offensive tackle. The dude seems super interested. I mean, I'm still kind of in the, old mindset of like, there's no chance. So
yeah, Nebraska
more towards him.
Nebraska should never have the problem of having elite offensive linemen.
No,
skill positions you may have to go outside the state and recruit, but they should have the offensive line locked up.
Without a doubt.
And check out our spring breakdown that we did of Nebraska. I think it was the week before last. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it, man.
Fellas. Thank you.
Love it. Thanks, brother. All right, Max, Michigan Max. Here we go. What's going on, man?
Mad Max.
Hey, what's going on, guys? First, I just want to say shout out to the first caller. Agreed with everything she was saying. Like all this stuff going on today is just it's just so ridiculous. I love that perspective of where's the self-respect and everything, because that I hadn't heard that kind of point of view before, and 100% I agree with that. It's just ridiculous. And and I just want to say thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for the words of encouragement. I actually messaged you guys on my new podcast how me and my buddy I finally got the confidence to start my new podcast. So thank you guys so much for like the messages back and forth. I really appreciate that.
Man, look, we get it, man. We're rooting for everybody out here. Anything we can do to help, and again, it's one of those things where we live in a world where people don't want to help people now. We'll do whatever. Like again, you message us and we're not too big to message you back. And I tell you what, if you need to sell some merch, use Shopify. How about that?
Yeah, that is true.
Because if you hear that, hit that button, David.
Hold on, you want a Shopify button real quick? Listen to this, Michigan Max.
Congrats, you're rich.
Yeah. Oh, hey. Hopefully one day. But my question is for Detroit sports. Obviously, we're all Detroit's waiting for a sports team to finally be good. Looks like the Lions are almost there. But what do you think is more likely to happen first? Dan Campbell gets the Lions to the playoffs and potentially wins a playoff game, or Iserman up there in the Red Wings office finally getting the Red Wings back to the playoffs? Because for Detroit for the longest time, it was the playoffs were that was always a given, and now we're just begging to get back to the playoffs here. And he's made some decent moves. Detroit loves Steve Yzerman, obviously. He's a legend here. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think is more likely to happen?
I'm going to say something. Okay. All right. Now I want you to vibe with me here, and I'm not just saying this because you're from Detroit. If you followed the show, which I know you have, I'm big on Dan Campbell and the Lions. They're going to win. I think the Lions will play in a Super Bowl in the next 3 to 5 years.
The Lions?
Yep.
I like that.
I look at this roster. Yeah, I'm going to say it. Wow. I'm not afraid to say it. Look, we know the defense needs help, but you're getting help. When I look at what you guys have going forward with the Sun God, with J-Mo, with the gumball smuggler. You know, what's in his cheeks wins. That's what. When you look at the offensive line, once that defense gets right and Dan Campbell's mindset and the way he operates, I am buying the Lions in the NFC North over the Packers. I'm buying the Lions over the Bears because they have nothing around Justin Fields, but I'm interested to see who they do put around Justin Fields with DJ Moore now and Darnell Mooney. And the Vikings. Defensively, I mean, the way it looks right, what's the biggest difference between the Vikings and the Lions? Both had terrible defenses. I see an offense for the Lions that's young and getting better. I see an offense for the Vikings that has Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook. I get it, but Thielen's old. He's gone now. I'm telling you, I didn't like what they did with Hawkinson. I will say that, but I am big on Dan Campbell, and I think the Lions playing a Super Bowl in the next 3 to 5.
And I think they're going to get a great defensive piece at pick 6.
Just remember I said that.
I don't think I've heard anyone even in Michigan say that yet.
Good.
Here's what I'll go with, Max. I'll say the Lions make the playoffs before the Red Wings because, like Jake said, they're trending in the right direction. But I'll say the Red Wings win a championship before the Lions do, just because I have to see it from the Lions. I think
that's a totally
Michigander can get behind that. But we appreciate it, Max. Thanks so much, buddy.
Good luck. Anyway, we can help, just let us know, man.
Call in soon. Ricky, California. Let's get to Ricky very quickly here. What you got for us, man?
My call sign is Broken Sergeant. I've been in the chat a few times. Mike, my question is, what are your thoughts on the Dodgers this year with all the pieces that they lost after last year, but with having such a great season that they did?
I always default with this when you have teams like the Dodgers, because let's be honest, we all know that the Dodgers are in another stratosphere when it comes to spending, right?
Sure.
And who they can have. Name the last time the Dodgers had a bad roster. I mean, you can't. I get that Clayton's old, and that's what happens. But I think the Dodgers are that perfect blend, and they have money, so you can do what you want, but they're that perfect blend of the destination team that also keeps the homegrown guys like.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Like that, I don't love the Dodgers. They're the biggest, wall to the Braves going to the World Series. So I don't love the Dodgers, but I respect the Dodgers. They're the Yankees of the National League when it comes to what they're able to do financially. But when you lose pieces, the Dodgers, I think, do a really good job of adding big-time pieces, but at the right time, right? You don't see the Dodgers reach on a lot of guys. Like you look at what they've done with Mookie, and I can go through the litany of fantastic players that have played for the Dodgers. So if I'm a Dodgers fan, if I'm an Astros fan, the Dodgers are leading the division already. They're at 5-2, so it's not like there's, it's the Astros and you're 3-4 and you may be a little bit worried. I'll never worry about the Dodgers. You guys have the pieces. I think you do have the bullpen, which was something I was a little bit interested to see the past couple of years, how they're able to kind of push through what they kind of went through from an injury standpoint. But I mean, as a Dodgers fan, I would feel as good as I've ever felt about it. Y'all just got to do it when it counts. Like, the question isn't the regular season. It's not the NL West. It's doing it to win the World Series, because that's the last, check on the box.
Kershaw's on the mound tonight.
Yep.
There you go. Ricky, thanks so much, man. We appreciate it.
We're going to tweet out our bets. Everybody knows that our bets are brought to you by our friends over at DraftKings. All right, you need to download their Sportsbook app right now and sign up with our code BOOSTER, BOOSTER, because new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly, win or lose. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with our code BOOSTER. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. We'll take some more calls, man. We'll tweet out the bets. How about that?
Okay.
You down with that?
You want to take more calls right now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's go to Kyle in Austin, Texas. Kyle, what's going on?
Howdy, gents. This is call sign Cowboy.
Nice, Cowboy. I love to see it. Love to see it.
Leveling up on Sunday. Want to get a chance to talk to y'all going into the weekend.
What level are you going up to?
Level 31.
Wow.
Congrats, man.
Look, level 31. That's an interesting level. I can promise you that.
Yeah. I called in 2-3 weeks ago about which Longhorns team y'all thought had the best chance at winning a championship. And this time I'd like to ask y'all the same question, but for the major sports in Dallas, like Cowboys, Rangers, Stars, Mavs, FC Dallas. Get y'all's thoughts.
Stars looking good, man.
The Stars are looking good. I would have to go with the Stars. I like the Rangers with DeGrom, but I just don't believe they have the depth to win it. Like, you could get hot, and again, you look at the division they're in, but you look at the Cowboys. I don't believe in the Cowboys with Dak Prescott, man. I'll continue to say
And they've tied themselves to him.
You're married. He's either going to do it or he's not. I don't think he's going to do it, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Dallas Stars won the whole thing this year.
You think so?
I would not be shocked. I mean, everybody wants to default to the Bruins, and I get it. But typically, these teams that dominate regular seasons like this in professional sports don't win the championship. Typically, they don't.
And especially the East is so tough to get through right now in hockey with the Maple Leafs and the Lightning and the Canes and the.
It's going to be a fist fight, but I'm going to go with the Stars.
I like that.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kyle?
I think the Stars too. They've had their first 100-point scorer, and he surpassed Modano, who had 93. So I think they got it.
No, I'm so ready for the NHL playoffs. I'm so ready, especially after going to that Preds game the other night. Just put me in.
Yeah. Ryan, Kyle, we appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it, Cowboy.
Thank you, Cowboy. All right, Ryan in Missouri, what's going on, man?
Hey, fellas, it's Revco here.
Oh,
Revco.
What's up, man?
Call sign Special K.
Of course.
Hail Mary, full of grace.
Yes.
You know, the irony of this whole thing, you obviously got to trust the signs, especially in my profession, got to keep it skitty. But
yeah.
It's ironic that, Flaming Dragon is once again not with us when you and I are, when we're talking.
I'm starting to think it's personal. I'm starting to think it's personal.
It is personal, yeah.
You
My
know
name's
what?
not Jack, but I'm feeling it.
Here's what it is.
You could identify
Here's what
as Jack.
it is, Revco. He thinks he's going to have to go to confession.
No, Blaine
He thinks he's going to have to go to
Blaine can't do
confession,
that.
Revco.
Blaine goes to confession, then like this. You know what?
Revco be like, man, I can't even.
Revco's like, man, I don't know if I need to call the police or God.
You just hear sobbing inside. Like,
that's exactly.
I doubt everything.
He just walks out of the booth. Revco just walks out of the booth, takes his collar off. He's like, I quit.
I used to say there's no limit to God's mercy, and then I'm like, okay, I was wrong.
You get a flaming dragon.
No, the reason I'm calling in is I wanted to actually tell you, Neftin gave me a lot of crap for my call sign Special K, but there's actually a story behind it, so I wanted to quickly relate that story.
Hit us with it.
It's sports-based. So when I was growing up, I played baseball, played until about 6th grade, and then stopped and focused on music, so I played the violin and viola and all that. But I started to get really out of shape, and at one point I was all the way up to 250 pounds, and that was 100% fat, right?
Revco, you were 250?
Hence the call sign Revco 250 on Twitter. But, bath and push-ups, more like take a bath and have a push top, right? So it was bad. But anyway, so when I was in the seminary, I ended up dropping about 75 pounds and started to get back into, playing some sports. And I could play baseball. I mean, I could throw, catch, and hit and all that. So when I was in the seminary in Columbus, the belly of the beast, David, there was we played pickup softball. And so I stepped up to the plate because I still, kind of knew what to do. And this other guy who was studying, who is now one of the top priests in the Diocese of Nashville.
Really?
I step into the batter's box and he goes, all right, let's go, Special K. And all of a sudden I realized I had a nickname that was done with affection because I was good at sports. And I thought, oh my goodness, I've made it.
You've got it. That's how you know. Whenever you get a good, like a great nickname, that's how you know that you've arrived, right? Like everybody, you don't want anybody to say, oh, hey, good job, Jake. Or, hey, good job, Ryan. Like, no, call me something cool. It's like, good job, Turbo. Or, hey, good job, J-Bombs.
Right.
Or how about Rhino, the rhinoceros? That's how you know. That's how you know. Revco, we got to get together soon, brother.
Let's get lunch again, man.
Absolutely. Well, I'll be in Nashville next week.
Yep. Let's get together.
All right, sounds good.
Maybe Blaine will show up for once.
Right, just one time.
Just one time, man. All it takes is that one time.
All right. You guys have a happy Easter. We'll talk to you soon.
Hey, you too.
You too, man. Thank you. All right, do we have a poll, PJ?
Yeah.
We do have a poll. Okay, so here's what I'll say. Taylor, Clint, Anthony, we had some other people on the line. Y'all call in Monday. We want to hear from you Monday. Keep those thoughts.
We may have to start taking calls earlier.
Yeah.
All right, let's go with the poll.
All right, someone suggested this poll in the chat, and it was, have you ever been on a cruise? Yes or no, cruises are mid.
I'm guessing a lot of people have been on it. I'm going to say yes, 76%.
There's a lot going on there because what if someone's been on a cruise, but they do think it's mid, and they want to hit that it's mid, but they've been on a cruise?
See, look, you can do the system dynamics.
What did you say, 76?
Yeah.
75, no. It's mid.
Yes, 38%. No, cruises are mid 62%.
Okay. All right. So
I am shocked.
In hindsight, I should have added a third option. Sorry, guys.
No, I mean, I am
nice
shocked.
work back there.
I
Nice
thought
work
most
back
people
there.
would enjoy cruises.
Couple comments here. The Hayfords, guys, replacement cone looks focused this morning, unshaken.
Yes, we're going to let him. He's going to say the last word. That's how we're going to end the show.
He's going to say the last word.
Yeah, he's going to say the last word.
Oh, Deacon and Nora, bro, that slide by Big Pookie is elite.
Look, if you haven't seen the story of Big Pookie, all right, you need to go on our YouTube page because you thought you heard about the greatest story or sporting event that ever happened. You know nothing. You need to know about Big Pookie.
Insane in the Crane, he was trying to call in this morning. Hey, if we didn't get to you guys, call in Monday. We'll put you at the top of the list and tell him that when you call in.
Say the word Pongo.
Pongo.
Move you to the top of the list. That's
that means
the word.
you were on hold last week.
Yes.
That's good. Pongo.
Yes, you like that?
Golly, you're just
I tell you what.
A beacon of creative energy.
It's ideas, man. I'm like an Eric Carl book.
I just want to sit down and just like pick Jake's brain on everything I need.
Yeah, but not like Hannibal Lecter style though, right?
No. It's a figure of speech.
I like that.
It's a figure.
I like figures and speech. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. It was a heck of a week. Replacement code, man. Is there anything you want to say to the people before we get out of here?
He just talks on Twitter.
Yeah. Okay, I get it. Happy Easter, he says. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you subscribe. If you're listening on audio, make sure you subscribe on YouTube as well. Share the show. Have a happy Easter. God bless. We really, really appreciate you guys. We will be back next Monday, ready to go. And like the Detroit Lions, having to wait any longer to be effective in the playoffs.
Look at this guy.
We're going, gone.